Well, welcome into Between the Pipes presented by Safeway. We are live on X, on Twitch, on YouTube. You can find us at Altitude Sports Radio, at Altitude SR. Mark A. Mark on Twitter, at Rajon Radio. Alex Ryanemi alongside Mark Springer will be here all evening long taking your comments on an Avs 6-3 victory over the Seattle Kraken. Spring, this was a great team effort. You get Arturi Lehky back. He scores. Mikko Rantanen breaks his goalless streak. Nathan MacKinnon creates history tonight. He ties the record for most assists in a single game by an Avalanche player. He nearly gets his sixth at the end on a power play. But as it seems, every single game this year, well, the hockey gods giveth and then they taketh away. Lehkonen returns and Cale Makar leaves the game.
He did briefly return to the game, so there's that. He felt like he could give it a go. Maybe there's an abundance of caution because it was 4-2 at the time. Even though it ended up being a one-score game there when the Kraken pulled their net. He's probably feeling something, but I'm just saying he returns to the game. So hopefully he briefly did. So hopefully it's nothing too serious. But of course, when it rains, it pours. It's just going to keep pouring. That's the way it's going to go, it feels like. But I'll say moderately encouraging that he was able to give it a try to come back out there. But hey, someone was finally back tonight. That was Arturi Lehkonen. Feels amazing to get somebody back, and his fingerprints were all over this game. He scores in the bumper area. Man, you got Lehkonen who can score there on the power play. You've got Ross Colton, who's hurt but can score there on the power play, as we've seen. You've got Middlestat, who can do it in that spot. Hell, Nichushkin can do it in that spot. They're freaking loaded. Lehkonen's a great player. He scores a goal in that spot. But, I mean, let's talk about this weird-ass non-offside play. That's crazy. I mean, just the fact that Yanni Gourde shoots this puck all the way around and it just goes right to Lehkonen, who receives it as if it's like an outlet pass from his own player. In fact, I looked away. I was like, I ended up kind of, I get refocused. There's a lot going on tonight, everybody. And I'm seeing just the slow-mo of, Lehkonen receiving the puck into the zone. And I'm like, oh, he's offside. Like, that sucks because I saw the subsequent Mikko goal. It was awesome. I mean, only a handful of players can bury a one-timer deep on the right side like Mikko there. So I was like, it's a shame to see that goal go because, yes, Lehkonen was clearly offside. But wait a minute. It was Yanni Gourde who shot this thing all the way around. What are the odds of that? Like, there's such a low percentage that a play would unfold in that exact way.
I wasn't nervous about it for a second. As soon as Lehkonen took the puck, I went, he's in an offside position, but it doesn't matter because he was not on the receiving end of a pass or a play that was initiated by his own team. As soon as Lehkonen touched the puck, I went, this is going to be a review if they score it, and they're going to get it wrong. And when it happened, in all caps, I'm texting Connor McGahey during the game. Gourde was the player to shoot that puck.
Sure.
What the hell?
Okay. So why did the NHL and the officials and the replay center or whatever, why did they handle that the way they did? They must have not been aware. How could they not be aware? How is Alex Ryanemi 100% aware?
It was because the league itself. It was so far away from the play. Like, this wasn't like 15 seconds and then they scored. Honestly, you have to rewind so long, Spring, in that play that you're like, no one's looking to see where the puck originates from. All you're looking to do is trying to figure out where the play happens on the blue line. You had to be watching in real time to realize that Yanni Gourde sends a free breakout pass to the Avalanche on a power play. They were trying to do it all evening long. Like Seattle riverboat gambles on their PK. It's nuts how loose they are when they get to go on a break. Like, they think they can score all the time. I don't know what Dan Bilesma and Jessica Campbell are thinking. It's fun, I guess, but you open yourself up to odd man rushes like this. Honestly, I don't know if the NHL has seen a play like that actually happen.
So they're just they're just looking at, they just get a buzz. Oh, we're looking at an offside challenge. So let's just go look at the 3 seconds before and after that crossing of the blue line instead of going back. They should have to. This should be protocol. Go back. You got to go back further to the guy who made the initial pass. Don't assume NHL. Like, they just straight up assume, oh, this must be a pass from an Avs player. Like, as they're looking at this in Toronto or whatever.
Well, why wouldn't it be, right? Why wouldn't it be?
No. So the Avs had to make them aware. They had to say, no, we re-challenge because that was actually a Kraken player.
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of shocked that someone in the Seattle organization wasn't making bigger waves about it prior to challenging it, right? Because if you're Seattle, you have that play on your mind the entire, like, didn't it turn into like a 2-minute shift or so, like a minute and a half before they scored, something like that. I don't know the exact time that transpired between the zone entry and the actual goal that was scored, but it was quite a long period of time. You have many people, like when the broadcast says like, oh, Brett Heimlich made the call. Brett's not the only guy working on that. Like there's multiple people watching these games, watching these replays in real time to figure out when they should and should not challenge. I'm surprised someone didn't chirp up in the Seattle organization going, hey guys, are we sure we're going to get this one right? Because, well, Yanni was the one that shot that puck.
Well, and because the Avs re-challenge and it is ultimately proven that, the Kraken challenge was wrong, well, the Kraken had to go on the kill. The Kraken had to go on a further kill, right?
Yeah, they were successful on the secondary kill. Luckily enough for them, but like that could have been the nail in the coffin for the game. And they end up fighting back, right? Like you fight back, you make this thing close because that was Arturi Lehky making the game 3-2. And oh, no, sorry. That was Mikko's power play goal. So that was Mikko making it 4-2 rather than 3-2. If this thing gets either overturned, Beniers' goal ties that game up at 3, or if the Avs score in the ensuing power play, Beniers' goal doesn't bring them to within 1 to start the third period.
So Seattle's wrong
to end the third period,
even though they were initially right. But then they were like, whoops, my bad. You were wrong. Mikko gets credit for the power play goal. Then Seattle has to go on a 2-minute kill right after that. So, yeah, I mean, it's on Seattle too. Even though they were right initially, they should have known, hey, we shouldn't challenge this because it was actually our own dude. It's just, I find it crazy how the NHL got that wrong and how the Avs had to re-challenge.
Again, I don't think
that took 10 minutes.
I think had the play happened within 15 seconds, even as many as 30 seconds prior to the zone entry, or rather after the zone entry, and like Rantanen scores on an ensuing odd man break, I think they would have very clearly found it. But so much time had passed. And then you're just trying to figure out whether or not Lehky went into the zone prior to the puck crossing the blue line. And honestly, when I was first looking at it, like it probably took me a good like 15 to 20 seconds to realize what had actually happened. But the first 20 seconds of watching the replay, I thought the Avs were going to get caught on break because I think it was Jamie Alexiak was the pursuing defenseman on that play. Alexiak's body cuts right in front of the blue line as the puck is cutting in front of the blue line. And I thought the Avs were going to get a break where it was like Alexiak shrouded the view of the puck so that you didn't have conclusive evidence to overturn the call. I thought they were going to get lucky that way.
Yeah, no, the initial look, it did look like, oh, maybe he was onside, but then you saw a clearer look. No, he's hella offside, except, I guess, spoiler, he was never offside. And the NHL, they got duped. They got bamboozled by just not going back just a few seconds earlier in the video, and we could have spared ourselves 7 minutes of our lives that we will never get back.
I don't know if I've ever seen a play quite like that. I can't remember the last time I saw something take that long to overturn, and I can't remember the last time that I saw something get overturned 2 different ways. I don't.
I mean, the NHL does this though. I've never seen this, but I have seen instances where like they've challenged a challenge. I don't know. I don't know why it can't just be, hey, even on any goal scoring play, like in the NFL, any scoring play, any touchdown, they look at it, they will stop the play. You don't even need to challenge. Like, let's just stop this thing. And if there is an offside thing, let's make sure we get it right. But let's take the extra 5 seconds to go back to the gourd pass. And this could have been expedited so much. Now, part of it was entertaining. I mean, we're spending so much time on it because it was ridiculous, or at least I find it fascinating. I find the whole thing fascinating.
No, it is. It's the most interesting thing that happened to the hockey game tonight, without a doubt. And it was a full minute. It was nearly a full minute in between Yanni Gourde's missed shot above the crossbar to the point where Mikko scores with 10:49 into the second period. There were 2 Cale Makar shots that were attempted and blocked by Jared McCann. There was a McKinnon wrister saved by Grubauer about 10 seconds after that second Makar block shot, and then 7 seconds after the McKinnon save by Grubauer, he finds Mikko to the far side. So there was nearly a full minute and 3 separate hockey plays that happened from the time that Gourde shot the puck to when Mikko scored short side on the one-timer.
Well, I'm glad that the Mikko goal counted because it was great. I mean, he's been catching some flack of late. I thought he was good in the Nashville game. Thought he had a couple close looks. One was a nice glove save by Saros that I thought Mikko was going to score on in the moment. That's one time from deep, top shelf, short side. I mean, he's an elite hockey player, and that's a sick goal. That's a great one-time shot. I'm glad that was able to stand.
Yeah, he's been a little snake bitten in recent games, but again, I think you and I have spoken. I haven't hated his play. And Rantanen is, whether you like him as a player or not, he is an elite power play goal scorer. Over the last 5 years, Mikko Rantanen has scored the 10th most power play goals across the entirety of the National Hockey League. Leon Draisaitl has 108 of them in that time span. Sam Reinert has 75 for Florida. Chris Kreider, who makes his living in front of the net for New York, has 73. Mika Zibanejad has 71. The other guys that are on this list are the who's who of snipers in the game. Stamkos, Matthews, Pasternak, Ovechkin, Rantanen. Like, he's elite in that spot. Absolutely elite. If you take away the net front guys, take away Reinert, Kreider, and Braden Point. If you take away those guys, Rantanen is in the same conversation in terms of power play one-timers as Pasternak, Ovechkin, Draisaitl, Zibanejad, who I think has like the best one-timer in the game, or maybe the most underrated one-timer in the game. Mikko's right up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to have him on the right side, McKinnon on the left side is just stupid spoiled. And Mikko had another play tonight with a good diving defensive back check to break up a Kraken scoring chance. And, he dives and goes to the ice. And, you see Makar leave a little later. Ross Colton gets hurt blocking a shot. And I'm like, oof, it's underrated, like hitting the ice like that on a dive. It was a great defensive play. You need a healthy Mikko, but, man, he has had several great defensive back check plays this season, and I haven't quite seen that from him in the past. Nathan McKinnon, he is on the forecheck that leads to that Ivan goal. Nathan McKinnon has been back checking more this season and playing in dirtier areas. I don't know if it's guys are out and they just need to set a tone, and you risk injury, you risk this and that, but I'm telling you, and they're not the best defensive forwards, and even their best plays, they're here and there. They're not consistent. This isn't Nichushkin. This isn't Lehky, who it's like time after time, wow, great defensive play. But Mikko and Nate again tonight, just doing little things. And MacKinnon sets up both of the first 2 goals. How about he's like, hey, Chris Wagner. Hey, Chris Wagner on the other side. Here's a puck. You want this puck? And he helps, get a puck down low that Ivan makes a great play on. But MacKinnon and Rantanen doing the little things right now. And I'm just noticing it more than I have in years past from them, especially Mikko.
I completely agree. I still think a lot of this is the maturation effect of Nathan MacKinnon, the Sidney Crosby effect of Nathan MacKinnon. If you look at both of their careers, this is year 11 for Nate. And while Crosby had Selke Trophy votes in his previous years when he was, a 21, a 23, a 25-year-old player, he finished, 30th for the Selke when he won the Rocket Richard back in 2009. He finished 15th for the Selke back in 2012, 2013 when he was a Lester B. Pearson Award winner in back-to-back seasons. He finished 18th in the Selke there. But the years that he really truly started to rise in his Selke Trophy voting, which is the award that's handed out to the best defensive forward in the game, he started to really climb those ranks in year 11 when he was 29 years old. He finished 10th that year when he won the Rocket Richard. He finished 9th the season after that. His first top 5 vote was his age 31 season. Nathan MacKinnon is in his 11th year in the National Hockey League right now. He got his 37th place vote for the Selke last year. And I think you're going to see him get higher and higher and higher this year. He's going to compete for an MVP trophy this season. But don't be surprised if he's like a top 10, top 15 Selke finalist either. I think it's the Sidney Crosby effect.
That's great research right there. And I mean, let's start it's campaign night. Let's start the campaign. Nathan MacKinnon for Selke.
Hell yeah.
How hilarious would that be?
Selke the MVP at this point.
Because that's never really been his game.
No.
But yeah, it's he's had it this season. He's bringing it in the other areas. He sets up Chris Wagner for that first goal. That's only his second goal in his past 4 seasons. He has 39 in his career, but he's going to remember that one. That's the one you remember if you're Chris Wagner. Nathan MacKinnon set it up. He receives it perfectly on the tape and puts it where it needs to be, top shelf right side, to beat Grubauer, who's flailing. You're getting Chris Wagner's first goal of the season, his second in 4 years. It was that kind of scrappy night. Parker Kelly blocking those shots late. One, unfortunately, is a goal is scored right after, but you love the effort. Nikolai Kovalenko, scrappy all night, is rewarded with a goal with 0.1 seconds left to go. If you had the under 8.5, I'm sorry for you, because that goal was scored in garbage time, but scrappy night. Wagner, Kelly, Kovalenko, and bro, Ivan.
Yeah, that guy stays. That's an 82 game player this year, man. He stays.
That sequence where he scores, he gets the puck after the forecheck from MacKinnon behind the net, and quick, decisive, assertive, smooth, silky pass net front to Kovalenko. And then the immediate recognition for Ivan to move in front of net himself. And then receives a puck on a rebound and immediately smoothly puts it top shelf. That sequence of quick decisions and receiving pucks cleanly and moving them where they need to be. I hate to say it, man. That sequence, I'm going to use the word, that was elite. From Ivan. It was. That was an elite sequence. It's the best sequence from any of the young Avs players this year.
Man, that's an 82 game player. I think he's cemented his spot on this team even when they get fully healthy. And we will talk about health. Again, Cale Makar leaves this game. He comes back in the third period, but then leaves again. Seems like he tweaked something. Bednar says they'll know more as early as tomorrow morning. We heard yesterday that Gabe Landeskog could have possibly suffered a setback. Adrian Dater tweeted out today that he had some sources within the organization that said it was a significant setback. We'll try and dig in to see if that's true over the next couple of days as well. You glazed over the Parker Kelly thing. And I said that the coolest thing that happened today was the offside review. Maybe I'm wrong. The coolest thing that happened was the nail gun shift that Parker Kelly threw out for the Avs. That was, the dude blocked 4 missiles. I don't give a damn that they got scored on with the extra attacker there. Parker Kelly's diving in front of pucks like that. That's the best thing I've seen from him all year. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, he finishes with 6 block shots, two or three of them in that final sequence there with the empty net.
There were 5 blocks and 4 of them were lasers. The 5th one was like close.
They've had a rough time in the 6-on-5 this season, but I believe effort is rewarded. And when you lay your body on the line, that's why Mikko gets his empty netter. You don't lose. You don't lose when you've played an extremely clean game, when you've outplayed the opponent, and you're blocking and you're diving to keep those shots out of the net with the empty net. So no chance in hell the Kraken were going to come back and win this game. And that's for them. I mean, I knew this was going to be a thing. Game 5 of a 5-game road trip, and they finish it 1-4. They won their first one. They hadn't scored in the month of November. They got shut out in their last 2. They finally scored tonight. But this was a team that was ripe to be beaten. They're a mid-level team. You put Arturi Lehkonen back in the lineup, and you get effort like that, and you get goaltending like you did from Justus Annunen. You should beat a mid-level team like Seattle when you're fully healthy. You should destroy a mid-level team like Seattle. What do you think of Juice tonight? I thought he was very good. Yeah,
I thought he was fine. I suppose you could want the Schwartz goal 5-hole back, but that's just a bad turnover from Logan O'Connor in the middle of the defensive zone when everyone is flying out. You have full possession. When you see your defenseman skating at you as a forward in the D zone, that means you get to vacate. You'll hear the word typically climb, climb, climb. Everyone is climbing in that spot. In O'Connor, who's normally a guy who gets pucks out of the zone, just mishandles one, and it's a one-timer from below the goal line. Eustace pushes pretty well, but I suppose I want to have his 5-hole covered a little bit there. Outside of that, man, he was more than okay. He puts them in a position to win hockey games. Are you going to look at the stats tonight for him and be blown away? No, you're not going to be blown away by an .850 save percentage, but he didn't give up the backbreaking goal. He never gave up the goal that truly equalized this game. And that's the reason why he's still the number one. Sure, it was a 1-1 game. It was a 2-1 game. But once you felt that the Avalanche started to get control of that thing, he shut the door. And if you keep it to 3 or fewer, this team's going to win more games than they lose.
His best save tonight was on a backhand attempt by Brandon Montour. And that's a good addition for Seattle. Like, they're full of solid players, and he's now their best defenseman. He got like 24 minutes of ice time tonight, but he gets a backhanded look on Annunen in the middle part of this game. And Annunen, what I love about this save, in real time, I can see him lift the shoulder. I mean, how many backhand top shelf stuff goes in on Georgiev? So much.
Enough.
Okay. So he saves he gets the shoulder up. He actually makes the save. Or that's what it looked like in real time as he's reacting. He actually made it with his blocker as Montour managed actually to go back the other way. So I think what I saw live was Annunen was anticipating a left to right move, but he keeps his eyes on the puck still. Even though he's anticipating, he's still reading the play. It felt like watching, and I am a baseball guy as well, a hitter in the batter's box adjust into a curveball when they think it's a fastball, but they read curveball with their eyes, spin out of the hands, whatever it is, they adjust last second and they foul it off. You know, they just get that curveball's down in the dirt, but they foul it off. Annunen, unlike Georgiev, who would either anticipate wrong or would anticipate and not keep his eye on the puck, wouldn't adjust his anticipation. On that save right there, loved it. Loved it. He has eyes. He can read on the fly. Love that save from on the Brandon Montour backhand. Love what I saw from Onanen.
Yeah, I thought Eustace was great this evening. And this is a game in which, like, Spring, you said it. You mentioned the Wagner goal. You mentioned the Ivan goal. There's a rule. When you get bonus goals and when you get Chris Wagner scoring a goal, that's the definition of a bonus goal. The rule is you can't lose that game. Like you cannot find a way to bungle those things away. If you only get goals from Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar and Mikko Rantanen in a game and nobody else pots in, those are the ones that can kind of go by the wayside. But when you get not necessarily like secondary help, because secondary help it's Middlestat, it's O'Connor, it's Colton. But when you get bottom six help, you have to find a way to win those games. And you do. And buried in all of this, I think I said it in my open, Nathan MacKinnon has 5 assists like that. And he's not even looking to score at the end of the game when they go on the power play. He had multiple open nets. He was looking for the 6th one. He just wanted to help guys out tonight. He single-handedly took over the league's lead in scoring in one game. And he had I think Kucherov had like a 3-point cushion on him going into the night.
Connor McDavid is hurt. I hadn't even really been thinking this because Makar was off to the strong start to the season. And I'd kind of thought, no way Nate can have the season he just had again. And McDavid's in the league. And I was thinking maybe sneaky, this would be Makar's season. And it was looking like that a little bit. But lo and behold, how realistic is it? I think tonight, 5 assists. Taking over the points lead out of nowhere. Back-to-back hearts. McDavid's hurt.
McDavid did get back on the ice with Edmonton a couple of days ago. So we all know how quickly he can turn a 20-point deficit into a lead within 2 months. Like that's how much that guy scores. He's a walking 140-point season. Kucherov isn't slowing down. I certainly think that there is a pathway to getting him there because the voters will look at the beginning of the season for the Avalanche and go, who the hell did he have playing with him? And he'll have that working for him. The entirety of the season is like, yeah, Nate kept the Avs afloat when they were missing $25 to $30 million off the lineup every single night. Sure. Did he have Cale Makar playing at a great clip? Sure. Did he have Mikko Rantanen scoring I think Mikko's probably still top 7 in the league right now, off the top of my head. The voters will look at that and go, even if like Kucherov passes him in points, or if McDavid finds a way to come back and pass him in points, he'll without a doubt be a finalist this year if he stays healthy. Without a doubt.
Oh, yeah, no, he's going to be a finalist for sure, but hot damn, we could have a Jokic situation on our hands where, and this would be a little more surprising to me just because Connor McDavid exists, and that just always makes it tough to pick against him, but...
In Game 14, are we about to get on the back-to-back one city, 2 MVP train? Because Nicola's playing like Nicola's the most valuable player in the NBA right now.
Oh, absolutely.
The season ends today, Nikola wins the award and Nate wins the award. That's what happens. Both of those guys win the award today.
Yeah, I think we just entered like get it on your radar territory tonight
in November on election.
Hey,
we're campaigning.
And it's weird because he's the second best player in hockey, so it's like, it's only because Connor McDavid exists. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. Or else it would be Nate's award every year. But, speaking of the Nuggets, last night I saw Russell Westbrook made a comment, or he's talking after the game because, down the stretch, Strother, Watson, Brown, 3 young dudes come up relatively clutch for the Nuggets. They played very well, all things considered. And Westbrook was like, man, I love to see these kids grow. I love to see them go through the downs, because those are the learning moments, and then you can teach them. And I'm seeing some of that with McKinnon and Ivan. Like, McKinnon was so happy when Ivan got that goal, an even strength goal, his first even strength goal of the year. Kovalenko, McKinnon, I can see it. He is embracing helping these young kids come along. He's stepping up his leadership role, and I bring that up too because of the Landeskog news from today. Oh my gosh, and obviously there's so many layers to it, but one of the layers is, and we heard these takes last year. Oh, you gotta take the C off of Gabe because they need a captain. Well, first of all, you don't need a letter on your chest to be a captain. And
Nate's
Nathan
the leader.
McKinnon, Gabe's the captain. But Nathan McKinnon right now is wearing a C without needing to wear a C.
And listen, if this setback with Gabe Landeskog was actually a setback, and again, I know Dater tweeted out today, he said he's got sources within the organization. I'm making sure that I say like Dater tweeted out, because the last time that I didn't say that, Dater like went on a tirade on me on Twitter, but like whatever. If this is actually true and it's a significant setback, and Gabe has to reconsider coming back, I think Gabriel might go to the organization and say, you have to give this to Nate now. He might have to go to McKinnon and go, I know you don't want this because I'm still around and I'm your guy and I'm one of the dudes, but you must take this. I'm not willing to go there right now because I don't know whether or not this setback was actually a thing, and I don't know whether or not it was significant or not. We're going to ask around the organization. I've already sent my DMs and my texts out to see like, hey, what was this? Is it actually true? Or are we just still on the, when the calendar turns to 2025, we will see with Gabe Landeskog. If it's that, then I don't pay any mind to it. But if it's significant to the point where he has to actually reconsider coming back this year, I wouldn't put it past Gabe to go to Nate and be like, dude, you gotta take this.
Well, that should be Gabe's decision. I'm sure that would be obvious for everyone in the organization. But I would only do it if I was Gabe, if I was retiring. If he's coming back ever, I wouldn't give up the C. I don't see a need to.
No, there's no, like, that's not.
But if he's retiring, then okay, I get it.
The people that are like, oh, the Abs are missing a captain. That's the reason why that Seattle beat him in round 1 and freaking, Dallas beat him in round 2. You're just like, don't be an idiot. Don't be that short-sighted.
That's like 8th on the list.
Yeah, it is. I guess it's part of the conversation, but like, it's certainly not the reason. Like, the reason that they haven't won a Stanley Cup championship in the last 2 years is coming back on November 15th.
Above it, so they don't have the C, they don't have a captain out there. No. Well above that is the fact that Gabe himself isn't out there. Take the letter away because he's an excellent hockey player.
Yeah. That's certainly before it, without a doubt. I'm excited to hear. I'm excited to hear from Coach Bednar in the morning when he joins Moshe Lombardi and Kane at 8 a.m. For his weekly hit. I'm sure he'll try and give any sort of update he can on Kale. I guarantee the guys will ask about this perceived setback for Gabriel Landeskog and actually try and get like a little bit more out of him as compared to what he gave in his pregame availability today after morning skate. But listen, this is all in all, take away the Kale injury today. It's a great win. It's a great win. You needed it. You got to stay relatively afloat until that point. And Bandit does say a good point. And Spring and I have talked about this forever. If Gabe retires, he forfeits the remaining, millions of dollars on his contract. When we say to save time on this podcast, when we say Gabe possible retirement, we're not talking like, hey, he actually comes out and officially like signs his papers with the National Hockey League. We're talking about what has happened with the Montreal Canadiens and Carey Price and Shea Weber and the guys going on LTIR retire, where they just like kind of hang around and the team knows that you can utilize this $7 million, but they don't screw Gabe out of the contract. That's what would happen if worst case scenario comes to pass.
Okay, that is good to clear that up, actually. So, wink, wink.
Right. We
Yeah.
will continue to say retire. Like when we bring up this conversation, like I just don't feel like having to go LTI retire so you can utilize all of his money. Like we'll just say retire, and all of us here and all of you listening after the fact can understand that's what we're talking about. Deal? Thumbs up, handshakes.
Sure. I won't use the word retire anymore then. Just because of LTIR and yes.
Oh, I want you to use that word. I'm
the years I've seen,
that we're using it.
Freaking like oh my god, like Marion Hossa living on Cap Friendly, Henrik Zetterberg, like that. I was just like, hey, what are you still doing on the payroll? Oh, okay, that's what's going on.
Remember when Pavel Datsuk's contract got stashed with the Coyotes for like 3 years?
No. And you're right, Weber and Price are great ones too.
My favorite thing to do back in the day playing NHL was like you'd play against your buddies and a guy that you knew you could beat. You'd play with the craptastic Phoenix Coyotes, and then you go into the edit lines and you pull out like 89 overall Pavel Datsuk and just dangle on his ass the entire night. That was my favorite thing to do.
Yes. Hey, he's still available. He's still in the game. He's still on the roster.
He's still skating. And then or EA Sports got wise of it like the year after, and they found all the guys that were LTIR, and then they drop them down to like 68 overall, so you couldn't do it.
Oh yeah, just drop that overall, decentralized while still being accurate.
Eli wants to know what our opinion was on the Mikko goal. We talked about it like ad nauseum to start the program. So listen back on the podcast. You can find that wherever you get your podcast. Just search Between the Pipes. Yeah, it was a weird play that I've never seen happen in the NHL, but I kind of knew it immediately. Spring and I detailed it about half hour ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Spring, let's take a look at what happened around the rest of the league today. I think we've kind of hit everything that there is to be hit with this Avs 6-3 victory as they improved to within one game of 500. Had to have this one. Nathan MacKinnon, third fastest player in Avalanche history to 25 points in a season. He did it in one more game than Michel Goulet and Peter Stastny did in the 1987-88 season when they were part of the Quebec Nordiques. He matched the franchise record for most assists in a game. He's the first Avs player to do so since Peter Forsberg did it back in 2003, a season that the Avs very well could have won a cup that year. He was on fire. He was the story of the game today. But there were 11 games on the slate. Let's go through the finals. The Jets, man, they just don't want to cool off. I don't know what it is about Winnipeg, whether they're pissed off about what happened in the first round last year. They're trying to prove something, but they get 2 goals from Nino Niederreiter, a power play goal from Gabe Vilardi, and they shut out the hockey club at home. They've got 12 wins in 13 games.
Well, it was the hockey club. They're very crackeny. It's a formidable opponent, but with the way Winnipeg's been playing, they should beat the hockey club, especially at home. Look, is Winnipeg going to run away with the Central? I don't know. I don't care. I don't need the Avs to win the Central. The Avs beat Winnipeg in Game 5 in Winnipeg in the playoffs. And I think if they're fully healthy, they'll have an even better roster this time around, should they have to play Winnipeg. So, yeah, hey, good for them. Good for them. I just need the Avs healthy come playoff time.
Michael says, hey, are you guys doing any road shows this season? Yeah, we're doing a handful of them. We'll always let you guys know on Altitude Sports Radio's socials. Just follow them at Altitude SR on X, Altitude Sports Radio on Instagram, and then altitudesportsradio.com. Anytime that we're going to be doing a remote show, there will be information on all of those outlets. Like Spring and I just did one for the Predators game last weekend. We did a live broadcast and watch party from Ryan House, thanks to our friends at Ed Prather and and Ryan House off of 14th and Market. So we will do a few more of those during the season, but they are just going to be like pop-ups. So just make sure that you're following Altitude SR, and then there's going to be like a lot of live liners during the day for all of our shows, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We will let you know when we're going to be out and about with the people. As it were. Other scores from around the league tonight, Spring. The Kings hammer the Wild 5-1 on the road. If you didn't know, Zach Bogosian still playing hockey. He's with the Minnesota Wild. He scores his first of the season, but they get a great game from Trevor Lewis. 3 points there. The Blues beat the Lightning 3-2 at home, and the Penguins, despite having a big lead against the Islanders and Sidney Crosby with his mustache staying red freaking hot, the Islanders come back and they beat the Pens in a shootout.
Yeah, the Minnesota LA Kings game, that's interesting because Minnesota, also in the Central, obviously, they are off to a good start this season. They were 8-1-2. They're now 8-2-2. 8-1-2, it's a pretty good start. And I'm surprised by this loss for them tonight, 5-1 to an LA Kings team that played last night. Now it was a win in Nashville, but Nashville's been meh. And then they turn around and go into Minnesota and beat them 5-1. I think Minnesota's a candidate to come back down to earth. I think Winnipeg's more real what they're doing. Minnesota, I think they're playing above their skis.
Completely agree with you in terms of the teams that are out kicking their coverage right now. I still think it's funny. Winnipeg feels like Lamar Jackson to me right now.
That's fair.
I believe in Lamar Jackson. I think he's really freaking good / elite. I think the same thing as Winnipeg. I look at that team and I go, that's a wagon. Like, there's not a piece of the team that I don't like. They have puck moving defensemen. They have big bruising defensemen. They have wicked fast players like Kyle Connor. They have big hulking meaty centermen like Mark Scheifele. They've got great role players and secondary players like Nikolai Ehlers. Like, there's nothing to hate about that team. And then you throw Connor Hellebuck behind them, who's arguably he's certainly a top 5 goalie in the world, without a doubt. He's coming off of a Vezina season. But I don't know what the hell is going on that they can't get it done in the playoffs. So for me, I think you're elite, but show me when it matters. So are they out kicking their coverage? They could be, but we won't know until like June.
Well, they're taking another step. You know, they've been there, done that. It's starting to settle in as they do have a good group that is set to win now. But the problem is, like, yeah, you have Hellebuck, but you need him to be regular season Hellebuck in the playoffs, and then, you know, a good roster. And a lot of teams suffer from this, and it's not their fault. Like, I'm not a homer. Like, this is the facts are the facts. Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, Mikko Rantanen, even Valeri Nichushkin would be the best player. The Avs have 4 skaters who would be the best player on many of these teams. And Winnipeg is one of them. I like Connor. I like Scheifele. They ain't MacKinnon. They ain't Rantanen.
Yeah, I wonder, you bring up Nichushkin, right? Like, Mikko, Cale, Nate, all the best player on Winnipeg right now if you put him there. Is Nichushkin the next player in, and do you take Nichushkin over Connor or Scheifele? Remove the off ice issue, and then tell me.
I think that, you know, if anyone were to hear me say Nichushkin, or you say Nichushkin would be the best player on the Jets, or this or that, maybe there would be a forgetting going on because of all of the distractions with him.
But just take the player in general.
Yeah, and he's elite. I mean, he is elite with a capital E.
I don't know if I could put him above, like, dude, Kyle Connor.
How many straight games did Nichushkin score in the playoffs? 8, 9 before he was out?
It was either 8 or 9. It was a lot of games, man. It was a lot of games.
In the playoffs?
Kyle Connor's really good.
He is
good.
He is.
Yeah, there's an argument to be made for both of them, and he's a better defensive player than Kyle Connor is for sure. And if you're looking for a guy who's going to make an impact in the playoffs, I guess Nichushkin does have the edge because Connor's never gotten it done, and Nuke has a ring on his finger. Man, you're making a good point. You're making a good point.
No, we'll see. I mean, okay, this literally just popped into my head. I'll freaking throw it out there. Why not? Because Valeri Nichushkin, before this went down for the second time last playoffs immediately before that, regular season before that, amazing player. Great player. What just popped into my head, because I'm like, there's no reason when he comes back he shouldn't just jump right back into being that. I mean, how old is Valeri Nichushkin? I'm going to guess like 28. Let me throw this name at you, Raj. He's 29. And there are differences. Don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about, man, you were playing very well, and then something happened off of the ice or field that was your doing, that was not cool, and then you come back, and how do you look? Deshaun Watson. I mean, we won't know. I mean, I'm going to assume that Nichushkin is not going to Deshaun Watson this thing.
Don't do that to me.
And just like I don't know, like, is it a mental thing? What was it with Deshaun where like he's a shell of what he was, and it wasn't injury? You know, it wasn't injury.
He just fell apart. Yeah, that's a good thing to monitor, Spring. It is. Other scores throughout the NHL tonight. The Hurricanes get the Flyers by a score of 6-4. The Flames stay hot. They beat the Canadiens. They hold them off 3-2 in overtime. The Sabres hammer the Senators 5-1 at home. The Leafs shut out the Bruins 4-0 at home. And currently the Sharks, thanks to Macklin Celebrini's return, he doesn't factor in on the goal, but Jack Thompson's first of the year puts the Sharks up 1-0.
Yeah, Macklin Celebrini is back tonight. And San Jose, looking for their 4th win of the season. I am rooting for them to not be the worst team in the league. I don't care who else it is. Just screw it. Go Sharks. Give me a new worst team in the league. Let's go.
San Jose looking for 4 wins in their last 5 games. That's going to do it for us tonight. Avs win 6-3. They're 1 game within 500. They'll be back on the ice Thursday night in Winnipeg to take on the Red Hot Jets at 6 p.m. 5:30 pregame show on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Spring and I will be back right here on X, on YouTube, and on Twitch starting at around 9 p.m. on Thursday evening. But for Spring and for Safeway, I'm Raj. This has been Between the Pipes. We can't wait to talk to you guys on Thursday evening, get you all the updates, Gabe Landeskog, Cale Makar's health status, and more as we move forward. We'll see you guys.